today we are talking about how to hold employees accountable without being the villain.
That's right. Accountability without buttholeism.
Yeah, well, we see a lot of people worry about this.
We see a lot of people.
And it's making
And usually they're not being buttholes. Usually they're going to the other side. And so nobody actually knows what they really want.
Yeah. And there's a study from Harvard that it was one of the HBR blog posts. And they said that, like, basically when they measured how employees felt about managers who were micromanagers versus aloof, people absolutely hate aloof more.
Right. It's been many, many years, but three psychologists, Hershey, Blanchard, and Johnson, they wrote a theory about how people tend to progress in a job role. So when I start a role, I start off and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm very motivated. And then at some point, I hit the sophomore slump metaphorically, where I realize how much I don't know. I still don't know a lot about what I'm doing, but now I start to see these parts of the job aren't fun, and there's a lot that I don't know. And if I push through the sophomore slump, I make it to junior year, where you pick up one of the most stable relationships in all of social science, which is the link between being good at something and being motivated to do it. And so the better I get at fishing, the more I want to fish. The better I get at making pizza, which you and I are struggling with right now, the more we want to make pizza. Basically, in the freshman, you don't know what you're doing, but you're highly motivated to do it. When you're a sophomore, you lose some of your motivation. You realize how hard it is. And a lot of people drop out. My mom dropped out of pizza making. We're hoping to hold through, me and you, until we make junior year, where we get good enough at it that you pick back up a more enduring type of motivation to stick with it. In a freshman, I'm motivated because it's new and I have the butterflies. As a junior, I'm motivated because I actually realize I'm getting decent at it. And then senior year is mastery, where you're really good at something. Weirdly, the quirk at senior year is when you get really good at something, you can continue on that path and have a wonderful months and years doing the job and being happy or making the pizza. Or you can get restless and bored. And so seniors are actually vulnerable. But the power of this theory and how it relates to accountability is, when it first came out, it was revolutionary in the study of management and leadership, because it was saying the first thing you need to do is figure out, where are your people in this progression, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, in terms of the metaphor. And then based on that, you adjust
your leadership style,
the combination of your directive behavior, telling them how to do it, and your supportive behavior, kind of boosting their morale to push through. And it leads to a very clean recipe in management, of which there's not a lot of clean recipes, where when people are freshmen and just starting out, they need direction because they don't know what they're doing, but they don't need a lot of support because they're motivated. It's brand new. When they're sophomores, they still need direction because they don't know what they're doing, but they need also some support because they're starting to see how tough the job is. Right now, my mom needs support to keep going with the pizza, or she's going to fall out of this. Then junior year hits, and you can begin to back off on the direction because people actually know how to do what they're doing. You can begin backing off on the support because they don't need as much of that, because they're starting to internally get that durable motivation because they're good at something. And then senior year, if you have a thriving senior, they need almost nothing. If you have a restless and bored senior, they need some way to have a renewal or energy back in the work. There are people out there who've gotten good at making pizza. I mean, I think we have a friend who had a pizza place, has a pizza place, and I think
he was just previously much more engaged with it.
Yeah, and I think he got really good at it. They made a lot of money, and he got bored, that's not unusual to get bored as a senior. And then you have to either look for renewal, or in his case, he's looking for another job. And come back to this topic that we're talking about, accountability. The problem that you and I see is that people back off on giving people direction before they should. And so they will, for usually two main reasons, stop telling freshmen or sometimes sophomores how to actually do the job, give them kind of direct feedback. And that can be number one, because they think, oh, well, I don't want to be a micromanager and I want to lay off and I want to see how far they can go. Some of which is, that's a nice default to have, but it would be nicer if you were more precisely watching how knowledgeable is my subordinate right now? And do they still need direction? The other reason people tend to back off is that another person will want to be like, look, I don't want my boss giving me this much direction. I think they probably think I should know it by now. And so they will basically send signals or just outright tell their supervisor, hey, I'm good, I got this, when they don't.
Well, and I was just going to say that. I think sometimes when people are struggling, they actually lash out, partly
Sure.
because of
No
frustration,
question.
but also because like they don't want to be visible.
Yeah.
And so you being directive and supportive, like that's like the manager's entire focus being on you. That really feels like you're very, very visible. And if the employee has any problem with like confidence or self-efficacy,
Sure. Yeah, self-efficacy is just a scientific.
well, it's just more specific than confidence.
Yeah.
It's more related to like having confidence that you can do a particular activity, whereas confidence is more global.
More global, yeah.
But if you have issues with that, and we've seen this with some employees, well, like they'll act in a way to get you to go away, but
True.
they actually need you. They're still freshmen.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had this happen yesterday. There's somebody about to make a huge job leap, and the organization bought 8 months of transition. Like they're actually paying 2 people, and the person making the leap doesn't want to appear like, won't this person think I should know this already? Well, no, the company is spending a ton of money because they know you don't. And yet this, like, you are not even a freshman. You're a pre-freshman about to go into, like, to use the metaphor.
It kind of goes with what we see with like people who apply for jobs. Like it's very consistent with that research that shows that women basically only apply for jobs they're already overqualified for, whereas men do the stretch. And so then you have somebody who is getting a promotion.
Right.
She already worked there, right?
Yep.
So she's getting a promotion, a place she already worked, and she feels like it's a stretch, and that makes her feel like she's,
Right.
Should already know how to do this stuff, when actually, if it were probably a man in that situation, they would look at it like, oh, well, this is just what happens when you get a different job.